Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Illumineers Quest podcast, where we talk everything Lorcana, not just the hotly released Illumineers Quest co-op version, although we will be talking about that very soon. I'm Zach.
And I'm Jacob.
And thanks for coming on this journey with us. Okay, it is weird now that we're Illumineers Quest, and we have been for like 9 months now, and Illumineers Quest is now an actual product too.
And people are loving it so far, it seems like.
I've heard most people have a lot of fun with it. We've had a ton of fun with it, although I think we had a few hiccups getting everything right the first time, but we'll talk about that. We're going to have another episode, I think a bonus episode this week on Thursday, going over our spoiler-free review of the Illumineers Quest game, so if you're interested in listening to that too, check out that one. But this week, it's set for release, so we're doing our patented weekend update, if you will, of what's going on in the Lorcana world for the new set. What we're doing, how we went, how everything happened. It's a very different week this time too, considering Illumineers Quest. So
very different, yeah.
So yeah, we'll go ahead and jump into it because there's a ton of stuff to talk about. So as always, thanks everyone for supporting. If you are wanting to get singles for Chicago for the for the regional championship there, you could use our TCG Player affiliate link, and it helps tremendously support the show. So for everybody that has done that, we super appreciate it. Link for that in the description below wherever you're listening / watching this. But okay, let's jump into it because we've got a couple fun ones. We've got a question from a listener that we wanted to discuss this week, and this is a fun one because we've kind of had this discussion very in passing, I guess, without actually sitting down to talk about it, but I wanted to. So Jason commented and asked, where would be the funnest places to play Lorcana in Disney World? Which, that is kind of a bucket list thing, I think, at this point.
Yes, 100%. So, I don't know why, but one of my favorite places to be in the world is Disney hotel lobbies. I don't know why, that's just kind of my vibe. So number one for me would be the contemporary lobby.
I mean, yeah, just go straight for the creme de la creme of the hotels there on campus.
I mean, could you imagine playing Lorcana in the lobby, then the monorail goes by?
I know that's not where my head went. My head went to playing in the lobby when the gingerbread house is there.
Oh, okay. See, if I was going for gingerbread house, I'd go Grand Californian.
Well, okay, so...
Or Grand Floridian.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know why. That's for some reason I thought Grand Floridian when you said that, but regardless, yes. So mine's actually pretty similar to yours. So I'm gonna say, I think it's the California Grill, or what's in the Contemporary, where you can eat and watch the fireworks.
Oh, I believe you're right. Yeah. That's a good pick.
That's my pick, is to have dinner there, play some Lorcana while watching the fireworks at Magic Kingdom.
That's a good pick. I mean, if you think about all the hotel choices, there's quite a few good ones. If you go hotel lobby, I mean, there's...
Anything on the boardwalk would be fantastic.
Anything on the boardwalk. Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom would be insane.
Animal Kingdom Lodge.
I know there's a place outside of Animal Kingdom with some seating where you can view the animals too. That would be nuts.
I mean, there's some... you could even think if their cards are allowed in the parks, there's some cool places too. Blue Bayou. I mean,
they definitely are, allowed in the parks. It would just, so. My initial thought was playing in line for some crazy ride that you have a 45-minute wait on, but that would just be tough because you don't have a board and whatever. So I don't think you can.
You don't almost have to make a pickup.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it in the parks, but I think anywhere around the parks or any of the some of the restaurants, again, if you're not being too annoying or long with it, I think would be super fun.
Is there any place in Disney Springs?
I was gonna say Disney Springs would obviously be great too. Anywhere around the water, there's a ton of seating.
Sure.
So you could do that. So yeah, I think the answer is anywhere in Disney is the real one, but mine is the California Grill at Contemporary watching the fireworks.
Mine would be Contemporary Lobby, so you could see the monorail.
Yeah.
So same hotel.
Yeah, we're close there. But yeah, okay, that's a fun one Jason said Trader Sam's at the bar there, because that's a fun one too, and just a really cool atmosphere, which I can't disagree with either.
That'd be awesome.
Okay, card of the week. I think we kind of agreed on this one too, because I guess the two main options that are out there now that everybody's talking about is Diablo and Mulan, but those are kind of obvious ones, I guess. And so getting into the deep cuts here for people going to Atlanta, I guess.
Well, I think it's a deep cut, but it's a meta deep cut.
Yeah,
right
I don't
now.
really think it's a deep cut even though. I think in 3 or 4 more days, this is going to be as synonymous as Popsicle,
Which,
to be honest.
a little hint there.
Yeah.
It's a sapphire item, uninkable, 1 cost, ice block.
Yeah.
Ability Chilly Labor. Exert this item. Chosen character gets +1 or -1 strength this turn.
So it's very critical. So 1, it's a free ability to use, which is insane.
And then you don't have to banish.
Nope. And then 2, with all of the removal now in Ruby revolving around the opponent's character's strength, you have the new Baby Sisu, which I can't remember her subtext off the top of my head, but I have the Illumineers Quest deck in front of me right now, so I'm going to sift through and find one because I'm pretty sure there's one in here. I could be wrong on that though. Maybe there's not one in here. What's the subtext on the Baby Sisu? Okay. Since you've got that pulled up there.
All right,
yeah, there's not one in here. Yeah, so the Baby Sisu only does 1 strength or less. When played will banish, and so taking the 1 strength away will help early on. Then you've got the Big Sisu, which I also can't remember the subtext on because these cards are still so hot off the press.
Sisu Daring Visitor.
Daring Visitor, and what's the
Floodborn, the main one?
the legendary.
Well, I just had it.
Yeah, see, I'm not prepared for this. Clearly, I'm off my game here. Sisu, I'm getting there too. Sisu, Empowered Sibling.
I knew that. I knew that one.
So, Empowered Sibling and Daring Visitor are just like Madame Medusa, where they have a strength requirement on what they banish. Ice Block is going to put everything under those strength requirements. Early on, if you're using the Baby Sisu, you can Ice Block like an Ursula and take that out. You don't even have to use Ice Block, I guess, necessarily, but that, with the Sisu, but Ice Block's going to go on to a Tinkerbell Giant Fairy for Medusa to take out. It's going to go on to more of those aggro cards in like Emerald Steel or Emerald Amethyst, so that when the legendary Sisu comes down, like basically everything gets banished. And so I think that enables a lot more of those strength required cards that have removal like that to be even more empowered, to be even more annoying. And so Ice Block, I think, is going to be like an engine behind a ton of removal.
I think Ravensburger for sure knew that Sapphire Ruby was going to be a big control deck, I think.
I mean, they've done such a good job designing this that I can't imagine that they didn't know that.
So, I mean, it's a deck that already kind of existed in set 3, but it's getting some major upgrades, I think.
Oh, it definitely existed.
Yeah.
I think it's getting even better than it was, because now Sisu could potentially, depending on what's on the other board, I think a lot of people play Jafar in set 3 to take out those aggro decks, whether it be the Emerald Steel or the Emerald Amethyst, or even some, Amber Amethyst decks that are like all into the aggressive. You play Scar so that you can rush in and take a bunch of stuff out. Well, Sisu is taking anything out with 2 strength or less to begin with. We're getting way off the subject of the Ice Block here, but yeah, I think Red Blue or Sapphire Ruby is going to be nutty this next go around.
I think to our point, or with
and
Ice Block is a main part.
Yes,
of that.
And Ice Block really, really, really enables everything else to like have that impact. So that's why Ice Block is important in my mind, and I think it's going to be a staple for sure, because then it's fodder for Hiram if you need the draw, so you have more like low cost items that don't have a cost to use, so you can just Hiram it, you can keep drawing off of it. So yeah, there's just so many possibilities with it that it's going to be an insane, like you said, it's a sleeper card because it's very inconspicuous, just like, from the card itself, but the enablers that it has is just next level.
Absolutely.
So. Okay, so news, what's on our mind, league recap. I think that's mainly what we're talking about today, but I think we should, now that our last league is officially over, I think we got to talk about it. I mean, our crew all finished top 4.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
That was fun. All of the regulars in the inner circle all got puppy sleeves. We all got our pins. We all got our promos, and we all did great. And so, I mean, we made bank on,
yes, we did.
On the last league night this past week as we prepared for set 4, because I think it's a little different than the way some leagues do it, but it's all based on like participation essentially. And so if if you're a regular at the league, you get a lot of points, and at the end of the set they add up all the points, and the top 4 basically get I don't want to say a pick of what they want. The pins, you get to pick your pin, you get to pick your promos and so forth. And so, yeah, we got it all the goodies. And now I have all the pins again.
Yep.
I'm getting ready for set 4 pins. And, yeah, we keep moving along. So,
I mean, League's been awesome. I think, like, we've created the community through the podcast. We've created the community through League, and more content in this game. And it's been absolutely incredible. Yeah,
I think and as we go into this week / next week news, I am going to Atlanta. I've said that a few times. I don't, I've showed my face like once. I'm not really trying to hide it necessarily, but we just do all the audio stuff and don't have like all the camera setups to do everything. But, I'm going to try to figure out some way to like wear a shirt that says Illumineers Quest podcast or something on it.
You haven't got on that yet, have you?
No, I haven't. Dude, set 4 came out and all I've been doing is opening packs. Like, what do you like in playing Illumineers Quest? So, and then life and jobs and stuff. But anyways, so I'm going to try to like make it obvious who I am. So if you're in Atlanta, if you're listening to this and you're in Atlanta, come say hi. I'm happy to meet everybody, as many people as I can. It's crazy because I say that, but like I've never done this before, and so part of me is like, am I maybe going to have any time? You get there and you play 9 rounds, and then I feel like at the end of that I'm going to just be dead, and so I'm going to want to go back to the room and rest. And expectations are to probably not make Sunday, and so I'm flying out Sunday, and so yeah, I don't think there will be much time. But that being said, if you do see me, please come say hi. And yeah, we'll try to meet some people. And
if you see a dashing young fellow,
that's definitely not the definition of or description of me. But regardless, so Atlanta's on the mind. It's a very weird situation because like this is the first week of Chapter 4 League, but I don't want to play Chapter 4 yet.
I know. So I think me and my family have talked about this because we all go to League. Is this upcoming League night we're gonna play set 3?
Yeah, I mean at Gear, I think, or at our normal store, I think everybody will, because I'm pretty sure Michael will be too. But I'm thinking about going to a second one on Wednesday night to get more practice in, and I think everybody that's going to that one more or less is going to Atlanta as well, and so I would be shocked if they don't want to. But the same thing, like if I go to that and everybody's playing Chapter 4, then I just wasted my time kind of. Mm-hmm. But anyways, yeah, so it's a very weird scenario to navigate. I was very happy at first that it's Chapter 3. Now I'm kind of wishing it was Chapter 4. But nonetheless, I'm super excited to go. So yeah, let's ready for the weekend rundown. I don't even know. We should come up with like an actual common name for this.
Release recap?
I mean, we've usually just said release weekend recap, but that's kind of boring. We need some like branding behind it to make it fun. The super fun, awesome, crazy fun time weekend.
What do you call like
massive extravaganza? I think we go with that one.
Okay.
I'm not gonna remember that, but
yeah.
Release weekend extravaganza. That works.
Okay.
I'm gonna
recap.
I'm gonna forget that next time, but we're gonna roll with it for now. So, we were fortunate enough to get basically everything. I mean, we got our boxes. We got. I mean, the availability of product. First off, shout out to Ravensburger. As I think we've said this the last 2 sets now. Is like the availability is insane. We did not have any problem getting anything. I mean, I think the Illumineers Quest is still a little bit of an issue, and it's kind of shocking how much that is going to some of the more mass retailers than the local game stores. But we both did end up getting copies of those for our families. Got the troves, got the boxes, the accessories. I guess is another hot debate on the local game stores not getting enough of the accessories. But at the end of the day, I want the cards to be able to play and to start ripping packs, and so. That's what we started yesterday. Obviously, if anybody tuned in the live stream, thanks for tuning into that. We opened 3 boxes on stream. Your brother, of course, who has the hot hand, got the Enchanted off stream and showed the stream. But yeah, I mean, it was a very, very, I don't know why but it was just, I had a ton of fun. Like I feel like this one was way better than Chapter 3, and probably like just not cards or pulls or like anything like that, but just the atmosphere / the excitement / the hype. It
reminded me of Set 1 release day, which I don't think will ever be beat.
No.
Just because of the overall, But, I mean, I remember, did we play till 11 o'clock Set 1 release day? Like, didn't we?
No, because We went to the opening league night, but I don't remember.
It was the night after, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think we came back after that. I think we played twice, but yes, I mean it definitely had Set One vibes from the sense of just it was really fun, and I think the Illumineers Quest product had a lot to do with that.
Absolutely,
and not necessarily because it's called Illumineers Quest. I guess we should say that it's we're not like on the bandwagon because it's branded the same as us, I guess, but it does create and again, we'll get into this one in more specific detail in the other episode, but it does create a much more like, new person friendly environment to get in. And so it was just a lot of fun to like have a co-op, way to play too. Cause we're usually all just in a good way at each other's throats, going back and forth. But so it's fun to do that. But yeah, so we had our polls. What was your favorite poll that you got from your box?
I mean, I guess I'll just be biased, but it's because the deck I'm playing it would be a Diablo.
Yeah.
I
mean that's the hot legendary right now. That's the number one card in the set.
I did so terrible in set 3 and not pulling legendaries that I needed. So pulling Diablo this set, which is I'm playing like Emerald Steel, Emerald Amethyst, somewhere within that range. So Diablo useful decks.
Right when you came over here, I was watching Savage, and he was playing Emerald Amethyst with the new Ursula, and he was just destroying people.
Yeah.
Just obliterating them. Using two cost Ursula to rip the songs for Diablo, and then shifting on 2 turns later to then keep people from singing. It was nutty. Like, I assumed that would be good, but I don't think I had the like play lines fully like thought out in my head to like understand how oppressive every turn they had is. Turn 1 Merfolk, turn 2 rip a song for Diablo with Ursula Deceiver, turn 3 play Diablo, turn 4 like whatever else you need to do. If you have Fox to balance something, or Ursula Deceiver of All if you want to. Turn 5 shift the new Ursula from Amethyst. Then I'm so terrible with these subscripts because I don't know them all yet.
Sea Witch Queen or no, you're talking about the second.
The new one, the Sea Witch Queen, the legendary, and then so then you shift her on, and then you keep everybody from singing, which you need to sing the songs to remove all these cards that you just played. So it's a lot better than I thought it would be, and I thought it would be good. So that's crazy to see.
That's awesome.
I mean Diablo, I assumed that would be your answer, but yeah, I mean it's looking like Emerald's going to be pretty solid. I mean,
so what I gotta ask though, how's Emerald Steel looking? I think there'll still be some play there, right?
Yeah, for sure. I played a little bit this last week, just trying to understand the meta and get some cards out and try to get a feel for it. Again, most of my focus has been on Atlanta prep and making sure that I'm all focused up on that. But obviously just wanting to the excitement and wanting to understand what's going on. There hasn't been much Steel at all in general, which I don't think is telling of Steel. I think it's just telling of what people want to play. There's been a ton of Ruby or Amber, Emerald, like Under the Sea Kita type shenanigans, to basically do a one-sided be prepared, kind of like Sisu, because it puts all the cards back into their deck. So there's no Steel there. You've got a lot of, like I said, Emerald Amethyst that's been kind of running around. You've got a lot of Amber Ruby with Mulan and all of the self-damage healing with Julieta and Rapunzel. So there hasn't been a lot of Steel.
Which is interesting because a lot of the hyped cards were Steel.
I know, because I think...
LeFou, Phil... I mean...
Yeah, I mean, I guess LeFou, Phil, Ariel...
Yeah.
I mean, but I wouldn't say that like overshadowed everything to me, because you have those 3, but then you've got Mulan and Sisu and Ruby, you've got Diablo and Emerald. We were talking about before we started Hidden Inkcaster and Vision Slab, and so there's a bunch of Emerald stuff in there as well. You've got in Sapphire, I think like on the surface it doesn't have a lot. We talked about Ice Block already, but I think Scuttle is insane for the Sapphire decks. So I think I think we just hyped it up. I don't think like that's fair. I don't think that was the overall consensus. I think that was just like our group like talking about that, because
that's fair.
There's a lot of potential there. Nobody's really playing Steel Song at the moment, which I don't know if that's an indication of the deck, the format, or the meta. But I think it will still be decent with Phil. I think or in my opinion, and I have quite a bit of experience the last couple months playing Steel Song, is that its biggest weakness was like closing out games. I mean, obviously flutes help if you're playing the flutes version, but I think the lanterns version with Phil now is the like on the cusp of being in one of those like insane tier decks.
Sure.
So we'll see. I mean, again, I'm no meta like expert. I mean, I think that obviously there are people in the community that have the sway and the pull that are going to steer the meta. Whether it be your Savige or your Zephyr or your Decandios, all those the big like top end guys. They're going to be the ones like that really shift the meta, and so it's going to kind of be how they go with it. But yeah, I mean, I think the way that my initial opinion on like the way too early meta report, as I'll call it, is it's kind of wide open at this point.
It is at the moment.
I think there's potential. We had 4 or 5 ink combinations. I would say that one set championships across different sets that I saw, and I think there's more potential for that now. I think everything more or less got an upgrade. Sapphire Steel got an upgrade with Aerial Sonic Warrior and Scuttle. Ruby Sapphire got an upgrade with Scuttle and Ice Block, like we just talked about. Emerald Amethyst got massive upgrades, as we just talked about with Ursula, Shift, and Diablo. Emerald Steel got upgrades with Diablo and a couple of the items and other things. So like there's continuously upping the game in the way that the different decks are played. So yeah, I that's super exciting to see too.
Absolutely. I mean, I think if we can, I mean, it's almost unbelievable to me that there's potential for a healthier meta than set 3.
Well, we said that at the in our last week's episode in our set 3 kind of recap. We were like, well, this has been really great and it's looking good for set 4, but as fast as the meta moves, we can make pretty good judgments now because it's been a week. There's been a ton of brewing, a ton of deck sharing and stuff online that I've seen, and everything continues to look incredibly healthy. There doesn't seem to be anything that's overly oppressive at the moment. I am very curious to see how Chicago goes because I think the Ruby Sapphire deck has the potential to, kind of dwarf everything else. Mm-hmm. I think like Emerald Amethyst, for instance, we said like that one seems insanely strong, but it like preys on being able to do stuff to other people's boards. Mm-hmm. And if like you're Ruby Sapphire and you're just ramping and all you've got is items, then you don't have a board to really disrupt.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of potential there for that to be incredibly annoying. Its biggest weakness last time was not really being able to remove until you get to like Medusa and hope your Be Prepared doesn't get ripped.
And it's fixed that problem.
And that's gone now. Like that, I've seen lists not even running Be Prepared because they all just run Big Sisu.
And Brawl Sisu in your early game.
Yes, and so that's we didn't talk about Brawl yet, but Brawl is another one of those strength requirement removal spells.
2 strength or less.
Yeah, or I guess it's just an action. It's not a song. So yeah, I mean, there's early game removal for your Merfolk, for your Flynn's, for your Ursulas that you don't have to deal with now that you did before, and so I think it's a lot more balanced of a deck than it was.
Absolutely.
So anyways, yeah, I don't know what the meta's going to look like. I wish I did, but I do think that it looks extremely healthy, which is exciting to see.
It's awesome. I mean, if it's just more the same of set 3 in terms of the meta and where it's going, I think that's super healthy for the game going forward. Because, I mean, I think you've talked to some people, too, that have played other TCGs, is that this set 3 was, like, one of the best metas they've ever seen in terms of variety and playability and stuff like that. If it's more of the same, we're headed in a great direction.
Yeah, and I think we ought to talk about, like, both sides of this, too. You have to talk about the competitive side, which, Atlanta, new set 4 stuff is kind of where our head's been at. But for the local scene, for the non-competitive, normal league night type stuff, if non-competitive players go in there and have to face the same deck every single week or every single matchup because half of it's competitive, half of it's not, then I would imagine they would get kind of annoyed with it and not want to play anymore. And so if you have a diverse meta where the competitive people are still most likely winning those matches, but they're playing different things and they're learning and they're have a variety of games and getting to have fun with their stuff, maybe have some gimmicky stuff with like Kita and Under the Sea, whether that ends up being a massive meta play or not, I don't know. But a couple gimmicky combos like that can really hit it off. I think there's the potential for that group, that crowd of players to have a very fulfilling time as well. So
I completely agree.
I think that it's incredibly important, and it just continues to be healthier and healthier, which
couldn't agree more.
Yeah, it's fun to see. I mean, we have another new local store that that opened in set 3, so they didn't have an organized play league. They have an organized play league now, so I imagine we're gonna have another, hopefully they can pull in some more new players too, and just continue to expand the player base here, because we've done our local store has had, I think, 4 new people come in recently that have said they're gonna start coming back relatively regularly. So yeah, I mean, I think it's getting to a point now where it's, I don't want to say hit mainstream, but it's been out long enough where people have started to hear about it. They've gotten curious about it. Enough other players have shared the information,
and that's what it's been in our local league, is like our local league members just sharing with like their work colleagues, friends, and that's just been enough to get them to at least come to one league night, and from there they're pretty much hooked.
We've got a couple. Awesome. We've got a couple that are hooked. A couple that have switched over from other TCGs. One of the guys that played in set championships with us, was a Pokemon player that was relatively successful, from my understanding, that is starting to dabble in Lorcana. So again, I think you start to see some hype around the game, start to get curious about it, start to look around, buy some cards, and then you get hooked. And so that's what I'm seeing, at least. Man,
I could not be more happy with the trajectory and where it looks like we're heading right now with Lorcana. I mean, I think it's just going to get better and better, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know why they just thought about this, but I have to ask, since we're on a new set and we're kind of talking about the future of the game. I think last time we visited this question was probably 4 or 5 months ago, but how far are we out from Pixar here? What do you think?
I think we do. It would be four more sets, and then the next one after that would be Pixar.
4 more sets or 3? Because if they do trilogies.
So I think they're doing 4 sets.
Oh, I guess you're right. I guess it's not a trilogy because we're on set 4, and this is the culmination.
I think my little theory here is that the next 4 sets is building up to Hades. So that 4th set would be the Hades, where I would assume there'd be a second Illumineers Quest. We fight Hades, and then the set after that would be the unleashing of Pixar.
Yeah, I think we've got another year, which would be 4 more sets.
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes sense. That puts us 2 years deep. That gives us, enough time to focus on a lot of the other Disney animation properties, but then gives, a massive excitement boost.
That's why I think set 5 is going to be huge, I think, in introducing new, because there hasn't been a precedent yet set for, okay, once we do the 4 sets, right, that's where we're at right now, is it's the 4 sets. What's the next one after going to be? We have no idea what precedent that's going to be, so it could be insanely massive, set 5, just looking ahead into the future.
Yeah. I mean, my other thought is set 10, just, do a solid, we're 10 sets in now, and, it's a very round number to introduce something new.
Sure.
And to start, I don't know, the Chicago / Atlanta rules / prizing pool that they talked about, they said everybody, or the winners of those, gets a complete foil set of every legal card, which is exciting for 2 reasons. One, every legal card to me says if you win Atlanta or Chicago, you get every foil and enchanted from sets 1 through 3, because those are all the legal cards.
Okay.
But then 2, that says at some point they're going to start doing Magic / Pokemon and sunsetting older sets and making them not legal anymore. And so, call it in, if we're in set championship 6, or whatever's going on for the regional at that point, maybe set 1 or set 1 and 2 are not legal anymore, and so when they have that same wording, it's all the legal cards, and so you only get 3 through 6 or 4 through 6,
okay,
or 5 through, or 2 through 6, or whatever the case might be. And so to me, that says at some point they're going to start doing that, and once that happens, then you can start creating more hype around those new products. But
absolutely, I mean, that's an interesting thought there.
I mean, that's the way it's worded, and given the TCG community, that's the way that usually works.
Okay.
In my eyes, at least.
Okay.
But again, that's a little bit off topic. But again, we're getting into set 4 and talking about the future and stuff, and
I think it's good you bring all this stuff up, because this set, at least the release day and just the overall vibe around it, has been so positive and so successful. It seems. I mean, we can think about the bright future this game has.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what it was. Is that I've had so much fun and everything has been so great that getting to that future, it just seems right around the corner. But,
absolutely.
Okay. Anyways, back on subject here a little bit. We'll talk about the next thing on the list. So I don't want to go super deep into it because again, we're gonna have a dedicated episode on Thursday about it, but. After we finished unboxing everything, we just dove right into the Illumineers Quest and played through that.
And obviously, in this episode, we're not going to talk any spoilers at all.
Just give me a scale 1 to 10. What your thoughts on it were?
9.
9. Yeah, I can't think of a way to make it better. Potentially, I honestly might say 10. Genuinely, without no bias whatsoever.
I think without giving any spoilers away, they did an incredible job at making Ursula the most powerful being in Lorcana. Just crazy powerful.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's all of the rules and stuff are pretty clear. I think again we'll talk about this more and laugh at ourselves, but I think we played it just slightly wrong the first time.
We made it more difficult for ourselves.
We made it more difficult for ourselves. It was very well laid out. The rules were very clear. I like how it scales depending on how many people are playing. If you're playing with 1 or if you're playing with 4, it kind of scales Ursula's abilities. The different difficulty levels are really fun as well. To see the way that those play out separately or play out differently depending on the difficulty level. But yeah, so we went in, we played Illumineers Quest after that, and we had a fantastic time with that. We lost the first time because we played it a little bit wrong. We'll get into that next time. But we did beat her the second time on normal difficulty. So,
but I will say,
are we ramping it up next time? Are we going to hard next time?
Well, we might even play some today. So.
Yes, and that was going to be my follow up. Is we're now Saturday release weekend, and we're going to play again.
I don't know. There's part of me that just wants to go.
You want to go extreme?
What is it? Wrath. It's I
mean, it's technically it says extreme, but they do call it it does have a separate name for it. I'm pulling out the list real quick. Yeah, I mean it says extreme, but it's called Infinite Wrath.
Yeah, I think
so. They have 4 difficulties, and I really like how they lay them out too, because they have easy, but easy's called the encounter. Mm-hmm. They have normal's called a dark realm, hard is the layer, and extreme is infinite wrath.
So little hints there, but I mean, honestly, just such so the first game we played, me and Zach both used
the starter decks.
The starter decks that came in the decks that came in the Illumineers Quest, which yours was Amber, Ruby, Mulan, kinda.
Yeah.
And then mine was a Broom deck.
Support challenge, and then you got the Broom stuff. But so we're gonna play that again. I think it has a lot of replayability too. I don't want to get into all the specifics because we're gonna do that. But a lot of replayability. So if you're interested in buying Illumineers Quest, I don't think it's going to be something that you play once, you beat, and you're done with.
Absolutely not.
I think there's a lot of potential for it to continue to be played like a normal board game.
It's 2 to 4 players too. So obviously, if you play it one time, with just one friend, and then maybe you find 2 other people that want to play, that changes the game. It changes the strategies.
It changes Ursula's powers, like we said. So it's tons of fun and dynamic abilities.
I would say if you find it at a store and you want a fun cooperative game, highly recommend.
Yeah, if you're, I would imagine everybody listening to this is probably not a new Lorcana player, but if you are listening to this and you are jumping in on set 4 and you kind of want to learn the ropes a little bit, that's honestly a good way to play too, because it can help you, strategize. You have teammates to talk through everything with. So
get some teammates that are more well versed and maybe older players, and then they can help you out, and that helps you understand the game overall.
Okay, so I guess we got to talk. We talked about our openings, but your dad also opened an Enchanted too.
Well, you didn't say your opening actually. You didn't.
I did. Well, yeah. Okay, so I'll jump to mine now. So I have an addiction to opening cards. This is a safe space, right? That I can say that.
Absolutely.
My name's Zach. I have an addiction. So I had one box pre-ordered from the store, from our local gaming store, because they got allocated a little less this time, and so they were just letting people pre-order one. When we got there, they had 6 boxes left probably, and they said if you want to buy another one you can, and so I bought another one and I opened both of those on stream, and I got pretty good pulls too. I mean, I definitely was not disappointed with the boxes. I got Mulan, I got a Diablo, I got a Sisu. I covered basically all the legendary. I got all the legendaries, but Mickey, the Amber Mickey, and
Piglet.
No. Oh no, you're right. I didn't get a Piglet from that, and then I didn't get Piglet, and I did. So there are 3. I didn't get Piglet, and then I didn't get the Queen, the Sapphire Legendary Queen.
Sure. Did you get Donald?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But I didn't get an Enchanted, of course, and so me again having the problems that I have, or the addiction that I have, if you want to call it that. I went and got another. I went out to eat dinner with some family, and I picked up another box as I was out and opened that one last night, and I finished the 204. So I have all 204.
Nice.
But I still did not get an Enchanted, and so today I went and helped my family set some stuff up to they're working a market today and selling things at a local kind of like farmer's market. And on my way back home, I couldn't help myself and I bought another box, and I didn't get one again. Like I just want that rush of getting an Enchanted, and I feel like I used all my Enchanted luck up on like set championships week.
So we actually talked about this. So between you and my brother, you have pulled the number 1 Enchanteds.
Oh yeah,
from each set, which is a little interesting.
This is a wild one too.
So
yeah,
you pulled Elsa in set 1.
We have to be. I have, yes, that is correct, but with the caveat of it takes me multiple cases to get.
He
there.
opens a lot less than you do.
It took me multiple cases to get to Elsa. Your brother, how many chapter 2 boxes he opened? 2.
And it wasn't from that.
No, I'm aware, but I'm just in general. How many did he open? 2. And then he got the Cindy, the Ballroom Sensation,
from a sealed event.
From our local sealed event.
6 packs.
Yep. And then
I
got Ursula, Deceiver of All from a league pack.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just opened Aerial Sonic Warrior.
From 1 box.
From his 1 box, yeah. So he's opened 5 boxes total, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
No, probably more. Probably 6. I think he's opened a couple of chapter 1 since then, and maybe another chapter 2. So we'll say 6 or 7, but he's gotten 4 Enchanteds from 6 or 7.
Yes.
So he's at a 50% hit rate here. I'm at maybe a what's like 1 out of 6. I'm at maybe like an 18% hit rate, 16% hit rate. Yeah, but no, I mean, I know it is what it is. I honestly I only got 1 Sisu from all of them, so I still need some Sisus, which is my justification, I guess, for doing it. Obviously, I think you should buy singles because that makes way more financial sense. But again, the thrill of opening packs is too hard to swallow sometimes. But yeah, so I opened a bunch more. I've got the full 204. Shockingly, I've only got 7 duplicate foils, so I've got almost half of the foils done already as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like that. I'm like tipping my hat on that one.
That's a good.
I've opened a ton. Don't have an Enchanted, but I've gotten a ton of foils. I think I said this. All right. I didn't tell you this. I got the foil Mickey Mouse Musketeer.
Nice.
So I didn't pull the regular one yet, but I do have the foil one of that. And then I got foil Sonic Warrior, which you did as well.
And that's incredible.
Which, yeah, that one's going to be a fantastic pull. I'm trying to think of other. I got a foil Super Goof, which is also awesome.
Amazing.
Trying to think of other any like super notable rares / super rares that I got. Your brother, of course, opened a foil legendary as well, which
Ursula.
It was. I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure it was the Ursula.
And then you hinted at my dad, so he pulled his first Enchanted in Lorcana.
Yes, first Enchanted ever. So that's super awesome.
And it was from a trove, and it was We Don't Talk About Bruno, which
he wasn't happy about. I think it's a great one.
So I will tell you this: it's one of his least favorite Enchanteds to pull because he's not a super big Encanto fan. But he got so excited when he pulled it.
Well, hey, that's all that matters, right? Trying to think, I got a foil Minnie Mouse Musketeer as well, so that's an exciting one. I got a foil Look at This Family, the Sing Together song. That's a pretty good one. Now it's going to set 2 on the one I'm looking at, so I got to switch over here. So I mean, I definitely had some good pulls. I'm definitely not complaining. I'm just bitter because I just it's one of those like, I just wanted Enchanted so bad.
We'll get there.
Yeah, what other ones did I pull? I got a foil, one of the foil Brunos. I got a foil rare Miss Potts. So I mean, there's definitely tons of good pulls. But they're just the other thing that I think is like leading to that, like, oh, I want an enchanted is I love this enchanted set. I don't know if I know we talked about it a little bit last time, but they weren't all released last week. This enchanted set
is by far my favorite.
And it's tough to say like unequivocally my favorite because the chapter 1 enchanteds are just, again, they're so like, I mean, iconic. Is iconic weird to say at this point?
No, it's fair to say. But this is by far my favorite enchanted set.
There's just so many fantastic. I mean, I'm almost positive I said this last time, but in case I didn't, I'm a sucker for the just like classic princess enchantments,
which is what my brother pulls. So he's pulled the Belle, and that's Cindy, and Ariel.
Yeah, and that's what he's pulled. So like chapter 1, you have Elsa, Belle, Aurora. And so just like, classic, again, that's what I like. But this set you have, I know a ton of people aren't high on her, but you got Jasmine. I love that Jasmine enchanted.
Yes.
I'm going to try to trade somebody for that Jasmine enchanted because, again, I think that's one on the lower side of people's favorites list that I can hopefully like squeeze my way into somehow if I can find someone that has one. So there's Jasmine, there's Anna, which is a fan favorite, which is a fantastic one as well. There's Cinderella. No.
Yes, there is. There's Cinderella.
The 9-cost Cinderella, or the Singer 9 Cinderella, right?
Yes. The obviously Sonic Warrior.
Yeah. Then you've got the Ariel again.
Minnie with her first enchanted. I know she's not a princess technically, but
But that one's fantastic. Yeah. So there's what we have 3 times. There's 18 enchanteds. I would bet there's. We were
hoping for a Mulan enchanted.
Yeah, I would bet there's 10 that I would be like ecstatic to get.
Absolutely.
In set 1, there was probably 6 of the 12 that I would have been ecstatic to get. In chapter 2, there was like 3 or 4. In chapter 3, there was again probably like 3 or 4. And so like ratio / like raw number wise, this is the most that I like. And so again, I'm just bitter because I want so many of them.
Sure.
It's not like, I don't really care about any of these. It'd be cool to get one. It's like, I want so many of these because they're so cool.
No, I totally get that. I mean, I know at first people were hesitant on the background, or
we definitely talked about that last time too. But I don't. It doesn't bother me.
I think it makes them pop.
Yeah, honestly. It doesn't bother me.
But I mean, from both the enchanteds that I've seen in person, which is we don't talk about Bruno and Sonic Warrior, they look absolutely stunning.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Okay, so next week then, I mean, what are you wanting to play this set? I mean, as we, again, we're talking about opening weekend and our thoughts and like initial meta reports we've touched on a little bit, and now we got to talk about personally, like, what are you playing? I mean, are you set in stone on what you're playing yet?
Emerald Steel is what I'm going for, but I'm going to have, maybe I'll switch to one point to Emerald Amethyst and then have a side project of Ruby Steel Hero. That's like my little side project.
We've definitely talked about some of those like more fun ones. I still think there's some legs there that people haven't quite figured out in the Ruby Steel.
Well, like you said, there hasn't been a lot of steel testing yet from the top players. So
yeah, there has been some Ruby Steel just because it was like new and people trying to figure that out if that can work. But I think that went by the wayside pretty quick on like the fun testing because the rank system came out and then we're 3 weeks away from Chicago. I mean, it seems crazy that like we're 1 week away from Atlanta and 3 weeks away from Chicago. And so people that are going to Chicago are like hitting the ground running now, like taking it seriously, trying to get ready for that because it's so close and everything's so new. But yeah, I think that has some legs. But myself personally, I think I really, really, really like that new Sisu legendary in Ruby, and I said from the beginning the Mulan was my favorite. So I'm not. You're way more decisive on this than I am. I'm not 100% decided, but there's a very, very strong path forward for me playing the Sapphire Ruby again. Mm-hmm. And some of that is, Emerald is like I feel like you're either like on the Ruby camp or the Emerald camp, and between those two you kind of pick your secondary ink from it. Whether again you're Emerald Steel or Emerald Amethyst. Or your Ruby Steel, or not Ruby Steel. You're either Ruby Sapphire,
Ruby Amethyst.
Yeah, Ruby Amethyst, or whatever the play might be. Ruby Amber, with like the Mufasa and the self-dealing or the self-healing
and even
all that sort of stuff.
Ruby Amber.
So those are the kind of the two camps. I don't have Ursulas. I've got one Ursula to play with one Ursula Deceiver of All to play with from Chapter 3, and I've only got one Diablo as of now, and so that kind of like removes myself from the Emerald equation, and so I'm kind of in the Ruby camp these days.
No, it's
and
fine.
Ruby Sapphire, again, with, like we talked about earlier, and the new Sisu tools and the new Brawl is right up my alley.
No,
so.
Absolutely. I think it's crazy how much we've shifted, because you started out this game as an Emerald player.
I know.
I started out as a Ruby player, and now we've completely shifted.
And I was actually thinking about that this morning too. I was like, I don't know. Like, I feel like at heart I'm still an Emerald guy, but I just don't. It just doesn't fit me. The play and everything. Like, it doesn't mesh well with me. And so I shouldn't even say I'm almost. We'll make it official here. I'm hanging up my Emerald hat, and I'm retiring it. I'm not.
You're passing it down to me?
Yeah, that's no longer my like wish, hope, want to be like the best to play. I've moved on from Emerald for sure.
All right.
I'm definitely in the Ruby/Steel camp now.
That's fair.
Which I think Steel took a step back this time. I think Sonic Warrior is insane. I mean, we haven't talked specifically about Sonic Warrior yet, but I think she's going to be nuts. Mm-hmm. I think she will be an incredible tool for Sapphire Steel. But I think in general, I think Steel took a step back, which I think is why we'll see more Emerald Amethyst and less Steel Song, and we'll see more of the color combinations that we just said, which is a little bit less Steel. I think Steel will still be extremely relevant because especially if Diablo starts running around and just running rampant and creating havoc on everybody, then Steel's got to be around. But yeah, I'm definitely in the, which is crazy because again, if we think back to set 1, like I hated Steel. I was like, Steel's my least favorite. I don't want anything to do with Steel. Get Steel away from me. I don't want to talk about it. And now it's definitely one of my favorite.
Which I think, all it takes is a set and it's back on top. But for Steel to be back, and I think maybe all it takes is just some more playtesting, and then Steel's back on top.
Yeah, Steel's still great. Like there's the direct removal, the direct damage, the ability to challenge, or not to challenge, but I guess in this case, yeah, you can challenge untapped characters or to deal damage to unexerted characters is always going to be incredibly important. So having the Steel be around is definitely something that's always going to be a thing.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm super excited for Chapter 4. Again, I think just wrapping this up real quick, it seems like it's going to be a really fun meta. It seems like it's very diverse. It seems like there's a lot of potential and a lot of ink combinations. And as we mentioned, or as you mentioned, potential for nuke combinations that haven't really had any play yet.
Absolutely. I think, and that'll be one of the funnest parts, I think.
Yeah, the continual evolution of it. I'm still no deck builder supreme by any means, but I feel like I am good enough. It's just a matter of, do I have the time to like really do all of that playtesting myself or not? And it's a lot easier when you have the pros out there doing it day in and day out and sharing their findings to kind of piggyback off of them. But yeah, so I think these next couple weeks before Chicago is going to be a lot of fun to get into and to see how things shape up. And then after Chicago, it's going to be really cool to see like what does well and how everything shapes out from that, because we'll obviously get the deck reports coming out of Chicago to see what happened. And so I think we'll probably do our first meta report after Chicago, so that we can have like a really, really strong big tournament, obviously, to see how everything played. But
no, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Okay. So that's really, I think, all we got for this one. Any other final thoughts on the weekend or set 4 release that you want to touch on?
No, honestly, just a lot of positivity coming from it. Honestly, I think it's just.
Yep.
I couldn't be happier, honestly. I just think it's been a slam dunk so far.
Continues to be, for sure. All right. Well, yeah. Everyone, let us know your thoughts. Love to hear about everybody else's enchanted successes and what they're going to play and what their initial thoughts on all the cards are and initial meta and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, if you're on Spotify, we've always got the comment section. We're going to throw that up for everybody. If you're on YouTube, let us know what you're thinking as well. As always, thanks for listening / watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.
All right. See you guys.